This is Daniel, a senior project manager, meeting a visiting regional director from Singapore for the first time.
So, have you been very busy lately? Yeah, pretty busy.
So what actually went wrong? It wasn't grammar, it wasn't confidence, it was structure. Stay with me because I'm going to show you the exact three-step framework to fix this forever. I'm Ross, a strategic communication coach with over 20 years of experience helping professionals thrive in Taiwan and beyond. Welcome to Communication Case, where we break down real-world issues to find practical solutions. Let's open the case.
Part 1. Case Intro.
Today's case starts before the meeting begins. No slides, no introductions, just a few people standing in a room, holding coffee, waiting for things to start. Nothing is happening, and that is exactly where the problem begins. Meet Daniel Wu. He's a senior project manager 5 years into the role, and today matters. It's his first time meeting a new regional director from Singapore, someone who will be closely involved in his next product rollout. Daniel walks into the room early. There are already two people there. They nod. He nods back. He grabs a coffee, stands nearby, and then feels it in the quiet pressure to say something. So he turns and asks,
So, have you been very busy lately?
The director smiles,
Yeah, pretty busy.
and then nothing. The conversation doesn't crash. It doesn't become awkward in an obvious way. It just goes nowhere. And for the rest of the meeting, something feels slightly off. Not wrong, just not connected. That's the case. A normal moment, a polite question, a conversation that never really starts. And that is why this matters. Because Daniel didn't say anything incorrect. His English was fine, his tone was polite, but the moment didn't move. So that's the moment. Let's check out what was really missing.
Part 2. What went wrong?
So what actually went wrong? It wasn't grammar, it wasn't confidence, it wasn't vocabulary, it was structure. Most people treat small talk like improvisation, say something easy, ask something safe, hope the other person carries it. But good small talk is not random. It has shape. And when that shape is missing, even a polite, correct sentence can still fall flat. That's exactly what happened here. Daniel didn't fail because he said the wrong thing. He failed because he gave the other person too little to work with. No direction, no context, no clear reason for the question. And when that happens, the other person usually responds the safest way possible, briefly, politely, and without much energy. So if the real issue was structure, the next question is, what kind of structure actually works?
Part 3. The framework.
So instead of treating small talk like guesswork, I want to give you a simple framework. Anchor, reveal, encourage. Anchor means start with something real and available, something both people can naturally step into. The room, the coffee, the event, the timing, the location. Instead of saying, "Have you been very busy lately?" Daniel could have started with something more grounded, like, "This is actually a great venue. I didn't expect it to feel this open." Or, "I think I needed this coffee more than I expected." That leads to the second step, reveal. This is where the interaction starts to feel human. Because if all you do is ask questions, the conversation can start to feel polite but cold. A reveal is a small piece of yourself, something light, natural, and easy to respond to. For example, I always end up getting coffee before these meetings, even when I know I probably don't need it. That line does something important. It doesn't just ask for energy, it contributes some. Then comes encourage. This is where people often make things harder than they need to be. They ask questions that are too broad. What do you usually do? How do you like this city? What kind of food do you like? Those questions sound normal, but they create work. A better question gives the other person a clearer path in. If I had one dinner here, where should I go? What's one place around here people usually recommend? Is there a go-to spot nearby if you want something easy? Now the conversation becomes easier to join, and that's the point. Strong small talk is not about asking more. It's about making it easier for the other person to step in. That is what most people miss. They think small talk is a test of personality. It isn't. It's a test of awareness. Can you notice enough to anchor? Can you share enough to reveal? Can you guide gently enough to encourage? Because when you do those three things well, the conversation starts to move. The room feels lighter, the other person gives you more, and trust starts forming earlier than most people realize. Now let's hear what that sounds like when it's done well.
Part 4. The rebuild.
So if we rebuilt Daniel's opening, it would sound more like this.
Glad you made it in okay. Mornings around here can be a little unpredictable, so I wasn't sure how the traffic would be. I know you're just here for the visit, so if you have time later, there's actually a pretty good lunch spot nearby. If there's one kind of local food you usually like to try when you travel, what would you go for?
Now the director has a clear way to respond.
Oh, that's good to know. I usually go for something local if I can. As long as it's not too heavy for lunch, I'm open.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's one place nearby that's pretty easy and great for visitors with some popular local dishes.
Now the conversation moves more naturally because Daniel is not jumping between random topics. He is working from the actual situation, the visit, the area, and the day. That makes the question feel relevant.
Part 5. The real lesson.
This case was never really about small talk. It was about whether Daniel made the interaction easy to enter. Because when your opening feels random, the other person has to do extra work. They have to figure out why you're asking, where you're going, and how they're supposed to respond. That is why so many polite openings still fall flat. Not because the English is wrong, but because the direction is unclear. A stronger opening does something different. It gives the other person context. It gives the question a reason. And it makes the conversation feel safe to continue. That's the difference. You're not just filling silence. You're making it easier for the other person to step in. That's the case.
Part 6. Case close.
That's the case. Daniel didn't lose the moment because he said the wrong thing. He lost it because his opening gave the other person too little to respond to, and the connection started weaker than it should have. That's all for this case. Thanks for tuning in to Communication Case. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to grow and refine your communication skills. If you have a story or challenge you'd like to share, reach out and let's tackle it together. Until next time, I'm Ross. Keep communicating with confidence.